Marianne, Nicholas, welcome in. Tell folks who don't know where you are after you unmute and tell us what's on you're already unmuted. Tell us what's on your mind. And thank you for joining.
I'm from Montana, finally getting some spring. I'm I'm really cautious about the tariffs. I'm a Thomas Sowell fan. He's cautious, that makes me cautious. I'm a lifelong Republican, but I'm frustrated a little bit with the conversation not being more about wages. We can bring manufacturing jobs back, but if they pay $11 an hour as opposed to the service jobs like Costco that are paying 30 with benefits, I just don't know if the workers in America are going to be advantaged by this at all. I think that tax is going to be on those lower earning folks. And I don't see any message from the Republicans, and I don't anticipate that they would focus more on worker issues. This sounds like I'm with on your team, Dan, and I might be. Instead of we've focused on shareholder value and executive pay, and it has skewed so much of wealth accumulation in this country. And I think there should be a way to make it. I don't like that word fair, but I don't see some of this policy solving some of the problems that created this movement. So I'm just curious what maybe Sean or Dan would have solution wise from the Republican side, or if the Democrats are going to have some solutions that really focus on shareholder. I have a friend that's been in AI for 30 years. He just lost his job, his company. They're all hiring Indian folks from India that will work more cheaply. So I don't know. It's not just manufacturing. So I'm concerned about just wages. I live in a little town. We're a low income area, and it's depressed here. Agriculture's our primary economic driver, but that's not a huge employer.
Marianne, thank you for that. You speak for tens of millions as we watch the market surging back up today pretty significantly so far. Dan,
Good, because
and then
I would like to retire eventually.
understood. Understood. Dan and then Sean respond to what Marianne brilliant, so articulately said.
Yeah, well said, Marianne. It's a great point. I know there have been some Democrats who have talked about the lack of support for raising minimum wage further beyond 15 and things like that, and said, how can you call for all this reshoring if, to your point, some of this is on the significantly lower end potentially. Look, the lack of wage growth has been an issue now for 30 years. Actually, Trump deserves some credit that in his first term, he did help to lift wages for working class people. He did. I don't believe the tariffs will do this right now. And I keep going back to it takes years to find a place to build a factory, to get all the materials, to build it, to then find the right workers, train them, and get it up and running to produce the widget. And so I just don't see how Trump is going to be able to accomplish this without putting up serious tariffs that are in place for many years to create it. And I don't have a good answer on the lack of wage growth. It's bedeviled both parties.
So all I would say, Marianne, is, and I appreciate your question and what's going on, but I continue to be troubled by the lack of seriousness of what's going on in Washington. I think what Donald Trump is trying to do is standing up. As I said, I am a big fan of market access and reciprocity, which is what he's been championing for a long time. It is ridiculous that we have this disparity between what we face going into a market and not another. But the idea that that one policy is somehow a panacea for all of the other issues is just not right. I mean, Dan's right. I mean, I believe that we need to invest in tax credits and other things that will get companies to want to be here, to want to stay here, to develop a labor force. I think there's a discussion that we have to have on H-1B visas so that we're not just importing people, that we're actually getting a commitment to grow the next generation of Americans that can do those jobs. The simple answer shouldn't always default to let's just bring in more people from other countries. I'm sympathetic to the argument of I'd rather have you, as President Trump says, staple a card to your diploma so that you stay here and grow in the United States. But I also think that we should be creating policies that encourage STEM, that encourage development here in the United States of companies to build here, to stay here, and to look to the next generation. We are not prepared for the coming fight that China is bringing our way. Full stop. That is not our debt is out of whack. Our tax policies out of whack, and our manufacturing's out of whack. The idea that so many politicians can sit there and ad after ad and talk about the threat of China and do absolutely nothing about it, to me, is remarkable. The idea that you can go home and look yourself in the face in the mirror with knowing that you are letting this country down, because that's what we are doing. As I've said before, the former CNO used to have a clock in her office that counted down to 2027. That is real, right? The idea that we face this threat from them and we're doing nothing to prepare from it is literally disgusting on a bipartisan basis, that these guys are not doing what to prepare us militarily or economically.
I will say the CHIPS Act is a step in the right direction. It is high-tech manufacturing of chips used in AI that somebody's party is thinking of trying to dismantle because Joe Biden's name's on it.
I will say I think the intent was there. I'm not sure that the policy matches the intent.
Marianne, thank you. Very grateful to you for being part of this.